Hi everyone! One thing I've been writing about a lot lately in my Finnish blogs is this lightweight nationalism. And with that I mean this nationalism that says that we should close the borders from asylum seekers and refugees, but that we could take basically any amount of immigration from developing countries as long as it's the right kind of immigration. Like, as long as these people are smart, willing to work, willing to integrate, humble, respecting of the local culture, we can take any amount of them in. And these people, they are very touchy. Like, they don't take criticism too well. And they never explain a few problems with their ideology. First of all, let's say you take in these 50,000 good Africans or good Middle Easterners. And they are all of these good things. How do you guarantee that their kids will be like that too? How do you guarantee that their kids won't be like gang members? Second of all, how do you escape the demographics? Because if you take these people in, say they tend to breed much faster than we do, so at some point there will be more of them than there are of us. So that's another problem. And the third issue, of course, is that how do you avoid the racial issues that you can see in the US? Because these lightweight nationalists, they like to believe that all problems with this immigration we have are caused by culture or religion. So that if there are no cultural or religious differences, then there won't be any problems. But we only need to look at the USA to see that it doesn't work like that. Those are people who have all been born in the same country. Their parents and grandparents were born in that same country. Still, they don't get along. United States is a very segregated country. There is a lot of hate crime. There is a lot of tension between these groups. And it's not just whites and blacks or whites and Latinos. It's Latinos and blacks, Latinos and Asians. All these different groups who are fighting amongst each other, and they don't trust each other. So there's no sense of community in there. Then there are these racial differences in crime, in academic success. All of these problems come when you create these racial minorities in your country. And the lightweight nationalists, they never explain like how you are going to avoid all of that. And I think it's mostly that they are either begging for approval, or that they haven't thought these things through at all. That they don't want to seem racist, so they say, okay, I'm not against all Africans, just the bad ones. Or that they simply haven't thought about the repercussions of this kind of policy. And as I said, they are very touchy. So when I criticize this lightweight nationalism, they always say that not everybody wants to be a white supremacist. You should have a wide basis in this nationalist scene. That's the only way to succeed. And it doesn't work like that, because first of all, mentioning race is not white supremacy. Mentioning racial differences is not white supremacy. And widening the nationalist scene by diluting it just doesn't work, because by that ideology, people who aren't really nationalists, who aren't really ethno-nationalists, are labeled nationalists because they share some common ideas. So by that ideology, we could just label the entire country or the entire world nationalists. Just say that they have their different way of being a nationalist, and all our problems would be solved. But no, of course it doesn't work like that. Because you cannot spread an ideology by diluting it. It only worsens the situation, because if you start diluting your ideology, you lose the respect and trust of the supporters you already have. They don't trust you anymore if you make too much compromises. But if you stay uncompromising, then you really have a shot at, first of all, keeping your support and gathering new support. And I think Donald Trump and Geert Wilders are really good examples of that, especially Geert Wilders, because he succeeded at many levels. First of all, he raised the seat amount of his party and got it to be the second largest party in Holland. And second of all, he didn't just win for nationalism by gathering more support. He also forced the overturn window more to the right. And the other parties, they had to become more nationalist, more immigration critical to stop their supporters from running to Wilders' party. So he succeeded at it without making any compromises. He didn't try to please the mainstream. He didn't compromise. He didn't dilute his ideology, and he's very radical. Keep in mind that this is a guy who wants to ban the Quran. He wants to ban Islam. So even for a right-wing party, his party is very radical. And still he succeeded at many levels without any compromises. Like in this case, he didn't have to please the mainstream. The mainstream came to him because he was right. And that's exactly how we can succeed, by not diluting our own ideology. And I think these lightweight nationalists, they just have a sort of phase that they need to take a few more steps to realize that their ideology will lead to the same exact result as the multiculturalist ideology, because they both are based on delusions. The multiculturalism ideology is based on the delusion that very different, inherently different cultures and races and religions can just peacefully coexist and mingle in the same country, sharing some basic values. And of course it doesn't work like that. It has never worked out like that. And these lightweight nationalists, they like to believe that you can overcome racial differences by selecting your immigration. That if you just choose nice immigrants, then you won't have any racial tensions, you won't have any of these problems that the biological differences between races cause. And both of them are delusions. Like there's no way to get around that. So I think there's hope for the lightweight nationalists, like that they are on their way of realizing this, but they aren't like there yet. But I think this is an important issue to raise, because we have a lot of people who are almost there. They almost realize it, but they just don't dare to take that last step or last 2-3 steps to become completely ethno-nationalist. So I think this is an issue that should be talked about a lot, because first of all it raises awareness amongst our own, those like-minded people, and second of all it's about holding this ideological integrity, not compromising, not diluting your ideology, not using these euphemisms like we are protecting Western culture or Western values. That's another one. And they always pretend as if those values and that culture just comes out of nowhere. Like there's no racial basis for it. Like it could be created by any race, and the fact that we are white Europeans has nothing to do with that. We don't need to use those euphemisms. Like Wilders, we can succeed without any dilution. And that's what I had to say about this. And I will be making a live stream most likely tomorrow, in which I will be talking about with Yunes about our bit of a drama with the city council in which we are in now, and the illegals who are camping over here in Oulu. We have a lot of subjects for tomorrow, so we will most likely be making a live stream. And thank you for listening, and bye. And as usual, you can support the channel via PayPal at swanoft@gmail.com.